Hi, this is part 3 of my little video about consciousness. Kind of bring it back around full circle. I guess what I'm trying to say is that there need to be solutions. And it's not a solution if you're teaching groups of people to re-victimize people that have already been victimized. That's not about victim consciousness. In fact, it is part of the abuser um, platform, basically, to tell people that if they speak about their issues in relation to their circumstances, that means they're whining and they're playing victim. That's not true. If you can't look at where you've come from and look at where you've been and see how things kind of played out along the line, then you can't learn from it. You can't learn from it to help other people, and you can't learn from it to heal yourself. So to speak on something is actually far more empowered and enlightened than to be told that you can't. So when you're teaching a group of people and you say something like, oh, if somebody gets, somebody gets abused, they might get hit one or two times and then, they're stuck in it. To do that is essentially victimizing and raping every single person that's ever been abused that's sitting there listening to you. You have no idea, unless you've been through it, what it's like to be abused as a child. And if you were abused as a child, then you should know better than to say something like that unless you haven't healed yourself enough to forgive yourself. If you haven't healed yourself enough to be even forgiving of the person that did it to you. I've been through the whole process. I've had enough of my own stuff. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm fully aware and conscious of everything that I say and do. But I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I haven't been through what I've been through in my life. And I've watched numerous people be downtrodden and silenced and probably driven into a deep, dark depression where they might have even committed suicide by online enlightenment consciousness gurus, implying that if you have had problems in your life, it's all your fault. Yes. I'm all about William Glasser, Dr. William Glasser, and his, if you've had things happen to you, you need to take personal responsibility for them. Yes, yes. There's always something that you've done that's put you in a circumstance. But when you start at the level of children being abused and then what that produces later on in society, all of our society is extremely mentally ill because everyone's been traumatized and they haven't even dealt with it. And that goes back thousands of years. So to pretend that you can stand at this point in human history and say if someone's had a trauma, it's all their fault for not being able to manifest properly or vibrate at the high enough frequency or to get their head out of it. It doesn't work like that. You have layers and levels of traumas, as some of you have told. Some of you have taught this, but yet you still skip back to if if you're having bad experiences, it's your fault. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe, maybe not. In my case, I can tell you right now that when you stand up and you say no to a machine that's what it does. That's what it's designed to do, is chew people up and eat them. And I can tell you right now that there's not one human alive that's at the level where they're a benefit enough to the whole just because they're sitting and meditating and contemplating their navel. If you can sit and contemplate your navel and be that much of a benefit to the whole, then you're at the level of you're a god. And I can guarantee you none of the people that I've seen doing this are, because I know who they are. Okay? And even the gods are just beings that are evolving. So if you want to meditate, that's awesome. It's very, very helpful, but you have to be involved in taking conscious action if you want to call yourself conscious. If you are living a life that's part of the same lifestyle that's created the problem, then you're part of the problem. I want a purple Mercedes. I want a purple Mercedes more than just about anything. I want a purple Mercedes. but I'm not going to step on people to get one. Do you understand what I'm saying? All of us, most people, are living a lifestyle. I don't want to go back to living in stick tents, okay? I mean, I have all the respect for all of these different things that have happened, but I don't feel I'm not a person that feels we should go backwards to living like that. I think we need to have a combination balance of a modern scientific lifestyle mixed with health, earth, nature, consciousness, all of these things. I think they all need to be combined. Humanity needs to work at how to get to where it needs to be by addressing what's actually happening. And what's actually happening is this planet is being taken over by very, 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 very bad, nasty people. And you get a lot more money if you don't speak up. And that's really what no one wants to say, because everybody just wants to get theirs. But I can tell you right now, when I say I'm aware at the level of Sophia, okay, that's planets and consciousness of planets and creating planets. That's the kind of thing I'm talking. What's happening here right now is going to determine what happens for y'all in the future. And if you don't mind pretending that you're not paying tax dollars to go towards what I referred to in the last video, if you don't mind pretending that you're not part of that problem just to get yours, then you're probably not going to be as far ahead in the end as you think you are. I see spaceships. I interact with all kinds of different beings. I can see the different levels of reality. You cannot pretend that you're enlightened and that you're that important that all you need to do is meditate and get rich, and that's how you fix the hole. You're not fixing the hole that way when you're hurting other people. And every single choice that everything with every single dollar that you spend and every single course that you teach and everything that you think and you do and you support, it matters. And when you get to the point where you don't have a lot of resources because you've stood up to all of these things, it makes it extremely difficult to even keep your body, your temple healthy so that you can go on helping other people. Forget about yourself. You're not supposed to forget about yourself. Your temple is what's important. And when that's being violated, you're going to have trauma. And when you have trauma, you're going to live out cycles. But when you have somebody with an ego problem promoting speaking ill of people who have been through trauma, you might want to really think about that, because there's always going to be a higher court. There's always going to be beings that are looking at you that same way. And I can tell you right now, from a real enlightened perspective, you're not looking so good if you're doing those things. So the way you're looking down on people that have been abused, looking down on people that haven't managed to figure out how to manifest their millions yet because they haven't figured out how to vibrate right or focus right, or just can't pull their head out of the fact that they got hit 1 or 2 times, or whatever nonsense you want to tell yourself so you can sleep at night. If you're one of the people that's promoting that, I can promise you right now, the beings that I'm aware of aren't looking at you and thinking, yeah, that's good. And they're not at a level where their big thing is to get $1 million. They're at a level where they move planets, make planets, create stars. Do you see what I'm saying? So I'm here as me in this one point of awareness in this human body, having to go through all of this world with all of my awareness, trying to stand up and do what's right, and now having to fight the other people. I say fight, I just mean having to have an opposing viewpoint to the other people that are supposed to be enlightened. I've ranted and I've raved and I've gone about this in a meandering way, but the bottom line is I'm really tired of seeing fake enlightenment gurus. If you don't know something, you don't know something. If you're just doing the best you can, you're just doing the best you can. You specialize in what you can specialize in and you stay in your own lane. But do not pretend to know things you don't know. There's always going to be somebody that can see that you're doing it. And when those people have been the ones that have actually sacrificed to help the whole, and they're watching what you're doing and they're disgusted with it, you might have a problem. All I'm saying is people need to start to figure out where they're really at and what they're really doing and take real personal responsibility for what's going on in this world. For example, I'm not going to go on much longer here, but for example, the United States is about to be overrun by people that are going to change this culture immensely in ways that you're not ever going to imagine. And you know what? The women and the children are going to be the ones that are going to pay for it. Because what you don't know, or what you don't want to know, or what you're not going to look at because it might bring your vibe down, is that they're all military aged men. They're all single military aged men hiding in amongst a few families that you would look at and feel sorry for. I don't feel sorry for a bunch of military aged men that left their women and children in another country to come in here and do what they're going to do. And I'm going to tell you right now, for women and children, that's going to be a problem. That doesn't mean that there's no good people in there. I love other cultures. I love other people. But we need to change what's happening that's causing the problem in the first place so that they can have their own countries be good. And yes, I know about the history of the United States and I don't agree with how it started, but we're here now and I can't do anything about that. I can't do anything about that. I didn't create that in this body, in this lifetime. I didn't create that. But we can't make this world better if we're at war in this country because the women and children are being what's likely going to be occurring, because this isn't going to stop, because all of the men have been emasculated, and so they all think that they don't have a job to do. That's what men are actually for. We're still in a scientifically based world. We're in a world that exists based on scientific principles. And if you have a male member, then you have a duty to protect the women and the children. That's your scientific job. And if you're not doing that because some force has come in at some point in the past in history and emasculated your people, then you need to get as a conscious being get back in touch with that as a conscious person and start realizing what it is you're really here to do. Because the women and the children can only do so much if the men aren't standing up. And I love men and I love women and I love people of all different cultures, but they're trying to silence us based on all of these nonsense programs, and I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. And the enlightened crew, you're all skipping along the edges. You're all skirting along the borders. You're all trying to just get yours. I understand, because you can't really make a difference without money. But once you have money, don't be paying somebody $7 in another country. I worked with Mexicans in the field. Don't try to act like I'm a bad person. I loved those people I worked with, and we had a great relationship. So I get it, okay? But the people that are coming in here illegally, we got to follow rules, and they're not. There's a million reasons why that's a problem. And the people in the other countries that you're paying to do cheap labor, instead of paying somebody here that's actually working to better the whole, I'm not saying that person wouldn't better the whole or doesn't better the whole or doesn't have any value. I'm not saying that. But there's a system that works if everybody's doing their part, and there's a system that's just going to chew up humanity and spit it out. And y'all are food. You're food for entities as long as you're not willing to speak up and say the truth. And that includes all you people that think you're enlightenment gurus. So all I'm doing is saying, wake up.